Good afternoon, participants. Thank you for sparing time for this webinar on ThinkStation, the power to create at the speed of thought. A business's daily success and future growth depends on the consistency at which employees transform their time and data into revenue. Consequently, many enterprises rely on workstation platforms for mission-critical processes. Workstations are used by highly skilled employees to perform companies' most critical tasks. In industries such as manufacturing, finance, computer-aided design, media and entertainment, and energy, the workstation is positioned squarely in the middle of a critical path to generate revenue and support the business's strategic objectives. Failures prevent employees from completing these critical tasks, which can lead to loss of data and cripple a company's ability to compete. Workstations, therefore, need to be reliable, reducing the total cost of ownership while meeting demands of applications and computing environments. It is increasingly important for enterprises to team up with a partner whose products deliver the necessary levels of performance and reliability. So without any more delay, I would like to invite Mr. Ritesh Agarwal, Regional Business Manager for West India Lenovo, to tell us more about how workstations can deliver value to businesses. Ritesh comes with more than 8 years of work experience in the IT industry. He was previously with Dell, where he managed businesses like BPO, international sales, India sales, and product marketing. Participants, the presentation will be followed by a Q&A session wherein you may submit text questions by typing into the questions pane of the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So without any more ado, it's over to you, Ritesh.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I believe all of you had a good lunch. I would request if you have any coffee or tea by you, please keep it handy so that all are awake on this call. I will not take much of time of everyone's today. Just a brief introduction about Lenovo Think Workstation before we go into the presentation mode. As you all are aware that the market is flowing and inclined more towards Dell and HP platforms. Lenovo had started their workstation business from 5 years down the line now. Market share that we stand right now is approx from 10% to 15% compared to what Dell and HP has 40% and plus. The idea today is to increase the mind share of Lenovo Think Workstation and see how can we perform better in the market. Developing different technologies in the same platform and encouraging customers to also evaluate our machines. This is the tagline that we follow coming to the presentation: unparalleled usability, unmatched performance, and reliability. Workstation, as you all know, and which has been mentioned right now, that the vertical of the industry really defines in terms of the usability of these kind of products. The biggest product, or the biggest market in India is manufacturing, and followed by media and entertainment. All the movies that you see, animation movies, cartoon movies, are all made by these workstations. So is the finance sector and the health sector as well. Health sector, the biggest market is on the R&D level, where they really test their medicines across the factory level on how to develop much better drug. This is a quick video on the workstation platform. If you look at, the lady is removing all the components inside the machine in less than 2 minutes. This is how we have developed the architecture of our workstation to make it ease in terms of usage. If you look at the lady very carefully, you would see that she is even removing the motherboard of the machine. This is a 55-liter chassis, and these kind of technology or the architect is available in our 3 premium models, which is P510, P720, and P920. Again, a quick video on how efficiently you can utilize the hard drives and the flexible bays, which is available in three of these models again, P510, 720, and 920. If you look at the graphics card, we provide NVIDIA Professional Core Graphics Card, which is 24 GB into two modules, which makes it 48 GB. So a server class machine that you could find in a PC platform. Toolless fan, again, ease of usage. In all the models that you would see, that you would have to really latch out the chassis, the cover of the chassis, and then get inside the system, try and find out where the fan exactly is, remove some cables. That is not the case here. It is just a latch, pull it away. If the fan is damaged or you really need to replace it, plug it back in, it starts immediately. It's not a hard swappable component. You would need to unplug the power, shut down your machine, then remove it. Again, this kind of architecture is available in our premium segment, mid and premium segment, which is P510, 720, and 920. While I continue to talk about the features and the benefits and the kind of architecture that we use on our workstation, let me also talk about the kind of models and the generations that we have, similar to what other competitions they have. So we start from 3 series, 4 series, 5 series, 7 series, and 9 series on our tower workstation class, and then we start from 4 series, 5 series, and 7 series on our mobile workstation. So we have multiple platforms starting from the entry level to the premium segment, and on few of them we have a feature called flex feature, what you see on the screen right now. Now the advantage is to have a flex feature, which is a completely patent technology by Lenovo, and no other competition like HP or Dell has this technology as of yet. For example, if your machine is capable of handling 8 hard drives, this flex feature will enable you to have additional 2 to 4 hard drives. So is the case with other options as well. You want to have a FireWire port, you want to add additional optical drive. This is the technology that you would really need to use in terms of expandability options. If you compare any other OEM, they are not successful in doing that as of yet. This technology is nothing but sits on a PCI slot where you connect additional 2 hard drives, M.2 SSD hard drives. This is just a quick picture of how you would make the use of the flex bay. We call it a flex bay, and these are available only on, again, the premium segment of models, which is on tower 5, 7, and 9. So you see the PCI slot, that is where the flex connector sits, which enables you to connect additional hard drives onto it. You have the option to choose 2 hard drives or 4 hard drives. Again, these are optionals. If you have a requirement from a customer which exceeds on the storage capacity, you will need to request into this for having it added to the machine. Again, a different way of how you look at the flex connector or the adapter which fits into. So if you are choosing the one which can only accommodate 2 hard drives, that goes on the top. And if you need 4, then we need to accommodate 1 on the top, 2nd in the bottom. So all the latest PCI slots, hard drives are compatible with this flex connector, which is M.2 PCIe SSDs. As I said earlier, these are only and only available with your P5, 7, and 9 series tower models. This is the flex tray in case you would need to attach a SATA hard drive. These are the options that you can choose from. You can have one 3.5-inch hard drive, or you can choose one 3.5 and one 2.5, or you can have 2 2.5 hard drives. You can choose between SATA, SSD, or SAS hard drives. So the model comparison remains the same. You still have to choose to avail these features, P500, 700, and 900 models. Another feature in this particular series is the flex connectors or the flex base, what we call, on the front of the chassis. This is so designed if the customer wants dual optical drive, firewire port, or media card reader option. So you have all those options available, or if you want another hard drive to be installed on the front. So you have a connector, SATA connector, which connects the motherboard directly to make a easy use of it. Again, the models, three models, P510, P720, and P920. The video that you're looking at right now is called the Blind Connect hard drive. Why do we call it a Blind Connect hard drive? Is because the ease of removing the hard drive from the machine. Such big machines, if you really need to replace a hard drive by opening the chassis completely, unplugging, hassling through some cables, that will not give a really good picture of any product to the IT manager. So an ease of removing the hard drive just by pressing the latch and making it out is the best class design as an architecture on a workstation. So we have these options again available with our three models, P510, P720, and P920. These are only and only available with our Think workstation. The other OEMs fail to have this kind of architecture or design. Again, this is not hot swappable. If the hard drive fails, if you need to replace the hard drive or upgrade the hard drive, you will need to shut down in order to have it detected and restart it. Media card reader, again, this is a very common technology in across all the OEMs. What we do differently here is we give you as an optional slot. So you have the flexibility to choose if you really want a media card reader on a workstation or not, so that it saves a little cost to your buying. Now this specific video, I'll just leave it for a few seconds for you to have a quick glance at it. We call it a tri-cooling channel. If you look at any workstations, you would see nothing less than 6 to 8 fans installed in it to ensure the cooling is proper. Why? Because these are server class machines, operates into 40 degree to 45 degree of temperature, or maybe in a cooler temperature, which is between 20 to 25 or 30. For these kind of machines, you really need a very good airflow, because you would have dual processor capacities, single processor capacities, single graphics card or dual graphics card. Now, if I have to specify Xeon processors, which is like E5, which comes with 20 cores or 22 cores, if we integrate two processors, it goes up to 44 cores. Such kind of processors really need very high efficient cooling. So does the graphics card. A graphics card starts from 1 GB, goes up to 24 GB on a single module. Imagine if we have two graphics card, it goes to 48 GB, and what kind of a cooling we would require. So for the ease of getting better cooling, we have designed this particular machine with tri-cooling channel, one at the top, at the bottom, and in the center, so that it inhales all the fresh air from the front and exhales from the out, apart from the fans that you would find on your motherboard and your graphics card. Again, these kind of architectures are only and only available with our mid and premium level models. I would repeat the models again if you guys are making any note of it: P510, P720, and P920. A lot of the organizations would have a lot of IT managers or maybe IT employees to look after all the machines that they buy, including workstations. How do you really manage in terms of the failure rate of those machines, or to indicate if there will be a failure coming in near future? So only on workstations, we have developed this particular software, which will be pre-installed on your machine. In case not, this is available on our website to have it downloaded. We call it a Lenovo Performance Tuner. First thing on this is, if a user is using multiple software or application, this will help you manage your hardware according to the usage of the software. For let's say Maya or AutoCAD would use a lot of graphics, but not the processing or the memory or the hard drive. These softwares will auto analyze and make your system ready accordingly. Let's take an example of a software which would use the processor cores compared to the hard drive or the graphics. So this is the software which will analyze and prepare your hardware accordingly. So you do not have to do anything manually. So the best performance with the best hardware is what you would get. Now this is available in all the models. On the diagnostic front, these are only available with, again, your premium segment, mid-level options only. Again, the P5, 10, 720 and 920, the diagnostic options, and this is only and only on your Android versions. So this is the diagnostic tool which will help you analyze the entire hardware piece of the machine, from your motherboard to your hard drive, memory, graphics card, anything. For let's say if your user is facing a problem on the memory, your system is not running as expected, maybe running slow, these diagnostic tools, when connected through a USB cable to the machine, will give you a clear indication what is going wrong with the machine, if the software needs to be updated or any hardware is expected to fail in near future. So these kind of indications is what you would get on the software or on your tablet or your mobile while you are doing the diagnostic. So the red means that it's a failure, you would immediately need to replace it. The yellow means that it is going to fail. The green, all of the components are working fine. So this is how it indicates. Again, I repeat, these are only available with P5, 7 and 9. While we speak, I think the questions are coming into the chat box, which was shared before. While I move ahead on the mobile workstations, I am done with the Tower Workstation series. I think all the laptop manufacturers would really want to see and test, how much does the LCD can take from the users, because every day, we close the laptop, we open the lid, we kind of fiddle with it, we 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 kind of put the LCD in different directions that anybody would have thought of. So we test this 30,000 cycles, 30,000 times, which is more than 50% of the industry standard. So to ensure that the LCD life is robust and increase comparatively. Spill resistant keyboards with drainage holes. I think all the OEMs claim to have a spill resistant keyboard, but here is a different technology that I have heard of after coming from Dell, the drainage holes on the base model. So this is flat across all the mobile workstations. So any water spillage happens, the water immediately drains out from inside the PC from the very bottom. So this is a completely different architecture comparatively to any other OEMs. If you are all aware that Yoga is a very flagship product of the company Lenovo, and so that we have introduced Yoga in our workstation class as well. So we have a 360-degree rotated P40 Yoga, which gives you a touch screen option and a professional NVIDIA Quadro graphics card. Accessibility, what you're looking at on the screen or the video right now is the auto lock keypads. Generally, if you rotate the LCD, the keypad stays on, and while you're working or using it as a tablet, you keep pressing the buttons which might come up on the screen. That is not the case here. I think in the industry this has become standard, but the first to adopt was Lenovo on this. So the moment you rotate it, the keypads goes inside the motherboard, literally inside the motherboard, to ensure that no typing happens on it and gives you the ease of usage. If you really compare these kind of keyboards to any other vendor, the keyboards remains as it is, but they really lock the senses of the keyboards. But it really doesn't enter the flat surface. Roll cage, what you're looking at the video right now is, the kind of materials that we use to build our mobile PCs. Generally, you would see everybody claiming magnesium alloy carbon fiber bodies, and so do we claim that we use carbon fiber magnesium alloy. But there are different kinds and different levels of products or materials used to it. For, let's say, as an example, an OEM uses a carbon fiber which is scrapped out of aeroplanes. Lenovo uses carbon fiber which is scrapped out of satellite products. So imagine how robust will an aeroplane be, which stays within the atmosphere, and how robust will a satellite be, which does not exist inside the atmosphere but outside the atmosphere. So that's the level of product or the quality that we maintain on all our mobile workstations. But these kind of standards, you would only find it in our P5 series and P7 series. This is a very cool technology that I'm going to talk about, the owl wing fan. You must have all heard and must be using regular fans at home. I can name few brands: Usha, Crompton, etc., etc. If you look at their technology from 10 years now, all the fans used to come with very straight and flat blades. While you start the fan, it used to create not like a sound of a generator, but a little lesser than that, but you could understand that a fan is on. But now if you look at those same companies, they are launching technologies in fan as well. People are claiming to have dust free fan, people are claiming to have noise free fan. So is the case of what the fan we use in our machines and PCs. Imagine that you are going for a meeting, you're in a very closed room, you power on your laptop, and the fan hits as if a generator is hit. People in the meeting room, the immediate reaction will be giving attention to your laptop or to you. That's why we have innovated this owl wing fan. If you look at the video right now, this will not at all make it. It will actually make 15% lesser noise comparatively to any other machine that you have in the market. And even if you look at the cooling, the casing is done on copper materials. That is how we decrease the heat recipients and lesser the noise on our PCs. And this is available across all the mobile workstations. Data protection, this is something which is standard across all the OEMs and available across all the platforms. Hard drive, if your laptop is accidentally falling at a certain height, the hard drive will automatically detect and isolate the data. Isolate the data in the sense, if I move to the next slide, all right, so we do not have that there. So isolate the data means that the spindle which runs on the hard drive will go back to its original position and will not hamper the data which is encrypted or maybe written on the hard drive. I'll quickly put this structure on to the presentation. So what you look at right now is a 12 standard military test which goes on these machines certified by the US Army. So you see humidity, high temperature, sand test, low temperature, solar radiation, explosive, etc., etc. So if you have to look holistically, 20 procedures are validated in 12 different categories, and all our model has to pass this test. So we ensure that you get the best reliable and durable machine in the market. Now, as we speak on the product, apart from the product, we also have additional accessories to make ease of usage. We have the static rail case. Why? Because these are not a regular PC, these are server class machines. People really use VFX or they need PCs for rendering purpose, and they stack it or maybe rack it on their office database. So these are the rails which are available, which will help you to rack on your rack cages. Then we have monitor options for you to use for your media and entertainment business, or if you are developing any kind of designs, which gives you a 4K resolution. And then we have a wireless keyboard and mouse option, security lock. These are the standard options which industry provides across, so does we. Top services that you can avail with these kind of high reliable products are a Lenovo premium support, warranty upgrades and extension, imaging and asset tagging, Lenovo deployment services, keep your hard drive. This presentation or this particular slide is one of the exciting product. Why? Because Lenovo is the pioneer to develop this particular model or this particular architecture in any form of PC. You call it a desktop or a workstation. Lenovo was the first to develop 1-liter chassis, full-fledged running desktop, and the same architecture has been now utilized on the workstation class. So imagine a size of 1 liter can withstand i7 core processors and NVIDIA Quadro professional graphics card. You can independently connect 6 different monitors. So for, let's say, if you are working on multiple stock every day, and now you would need to see different stock shares. So you would be connecting 4 different monitors, 3 different monitors or more. This is a PC which will sit at the back of the monitor, clutter free, no wires attached. Your desk is completely empty. You use a wireless keyboard and mouse, make it look very nice, and you get the same performance. Imagine for a designer who has to really keep swapping from one monitor to another, and you have a desktop beneath the chair or your table work desk. You have to create a rack to really safely install that particular machine. But for this, you do not really have to. It just sits very nicely at the back of the monitor, similar to what an all-in-one is, but very lesser in cost. Another good feature about this is the power supply. The usage of the power supply is so low that will help you on a long investment in terms of returns. If you look at a normal workstation will have a power supply starting from 280 goes to 1400. Standard ones are 400 watts to 650 watts to 850 watts. This machine will come with 135 watt. So imagine the kind of power consumption you can save, which will help you to save over a year or 2 or 3. Now, how will you really rack this particular tiny machine? These are few examples that you would see on the screen. If you need an optical drive, we have an option for that as well, additional optical drive cage. I will give you a few seconds to just have a quick view of it. If you look at the monitor, this is how the structure looks like of having the tiny PC at the back. And these are the different ways that you can really rack your tiny workstation. The one at the bottom shows you the tiny workstation. On top of it, you would see the optical drive. So best fitted in the industry where people do not use optical drive. These days, nobody is using CD or a DVD. Everybody is using through a USB or sharing data over cloud or email. And optical drive is getting obsolete. Hence, we have this product. But in case people or customers really demand for it, we have options for optical drive as well. With this, I come to the end of the session. I have covered more or less everything in terms of the workstations, which will flow into multiple verticals and industries. The tiny PC will be our flagship product on our tower class segment, and server class PCs in terms of the processors and the NVIDIA graphics card, which will be available in this. There one more important news about the technology front. There is a Skylake processor getting introduced to the market by Intel. I'm not sure if many of you would be aware of this. This has happened last year in laptops and desktops, and it's now happening with servers. So why on Workstation? Because it is related to the processors what we use on servers. So the new names of server class, which was older ones, were E3, E5. The new names would be silver, gold, platinum. I remember only 4 of them as of now. So these would be the names of the new server class processors on workstations. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them now.
Thank you, Ritesh, for that very comprehensive and wonderful presentation. Um, we have questions from participants, which I would like to take up now. The first question is from our esteemed participants who wants to know what trends do you see in workstations, Ritesh? What will be the next level when it comes to workstations?
I think the workstation market will continue to grow, which we have been seeing from last 5 to 6 years. Why? Because the data in the market is increasing, and a regular desktop is not the right fit or capable in terms of handling those kind of data. At the same time, the workload is increasing, the user experience is increasing. So I think the workstation market is going to grow. We will have numerous designs in terms of mobile workstation, and we will have numerous form factors on our tower. As you see that we had launched tiny workstation as well. I think the market is dynamic on workstation, and it will continue to grow.
Thank you, Ritesh. We have another question from our participants, Jaya Ramachandran, who wants to know, have the newfound vulnerabilities mitigated in the processors used in this product?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that question.
So the question is, so there have been a lot of vulnerabilities of late that have been found in processors, right? So the participant wants to know, have you addressed all these vulnerabilities in the processors being used in your in your workstations?
I think these issues were because of the OS and not because of the processor. I have heard and read about these kind of news before in the past and now. Uh, the processor generation changes happens because of the operating system which gets developed in the market. And if we have to really talk about it, it's Microsoft only as of now. Very few of them really uses Red Hat or Linux or any other operating system at the moment. The generation or the making of the processors keeps on changing because the demand of the users are getting higher and higher. So does the architecture changes. When technology on a processor is launched, there are a lot of bugs. We all accept. There are few issues that might occur up, but the companies at the back really help the users or the customers to set them right. And Intel as an organization would never want their customers to suffer because of these kind of issues. So I don't find anything which will continue to have on a long-term basis. But these kind of vulnerabilities comes only with the OS and a combination of the process. So those will be addressed. It's not that it will eat up the market completely or hamper the market, but those will be addressed by the organizations.
Thank you for your response, Ritesh. The next question is, if you were to enumerate Lenovo's top 3 differentiators, what would they be?
This is a very easy question. So the owl wing fan, tri-channel cooling, and the tiny PC. This is the 3 key feature, the design architecture and the model that we have developed. We are at a 10% to a 15% market share. while compared with HP and Dell at a 40 plus market share, each one of them. These kind of architectures in such a competitive market are not being developed by these companies, but are developed by us. So we look at a very bright future going forward, customer accepting our products and really finding value of the design and architecture that we develop for them.
Thank you, Ritesh. Our next question is, ergonomically designed workstations have direct bearing on the comfort and safety of office computer users. How ergonomically are Lenovo's workstations?
I think I have already answered this on the previous questions. Similar is the case of what I spoke about, the tiny PC and the P40 Yoga. So if you look at the market, or maybe the other OEMs keeps developing on workstation, you really need to understand the user experience and how they would really want to use their own personal PC or a work PC. Hence, the design of a 1 liter chassis, understanding the usability and the kind of usage that they would have, and keeping their desk, ideally clean, clutter free. So is the case with the P40 Yoga. If a designer is using a machine of that level, they would really need a flexible, options to keep trying on their PCs, because they would do animation, they would do designings. So these are the two products that we have, and we continue to develop them.
Thank you, Ritesh, for that answer. Our next question is, what is Lenovo's roadmap for its workstations?
So as I said, all the models that you would find on the presentations I just went through, or the mobile workstations, we will be changing the platforms with all the new Skylake Intel processors. So if you are looking at models which are ending with 10, or on the mobile workstation PCs of P51, those will be transitioned to P52 as an example, and on the tower front it will be transitioned from P510 to P520. So all those platforms will come with the latest chipset from Intel and would have the new Skylake processors. Now those processors will be called as gold, silver, platinum, etc., which I had mentioned earlier. We have just to add on to 3 more points. We have already transitioned a few models which are readily available in the market, and we are selling it. We will be transitioning few other models which are still pending. I think we should be able to cover that by the month of March or April.
Thank you, Ritesh. The next question is, our participant wants to know, what are the typical challenges that users face when it comes to workstations, and how is Lenovo working to overcome them?
I think the basic problem what users face is the performance, or maybe the heating up issues of the workstation. Why performance is the power supply attached to the workstation should be efficient enough in order to handle the workload of what a user has. Sometimes users try and keep switching the graphics card or trying new graphics card which are available in the market. We have to understand one thing, that every segment has its own benefits. People try and use the consumer series graphics card, a professional work machine, which ideally is not right, because companies like Nvidia and AMD has made different kind of products to adhere to the users, so that their work becomes successful. But at the same time, what we ensure is, because we really don't have much of control with the customers or the end users to really stop those changes, we ensure that our power supply is efficient enough, and we give those flexible options to the customers to make their own choices, from 280 watt power supply to a 1400 watt power supply. understanding and proactively asking what kind of a graphics card or a processor or any change to the machine they would do in near future, and accordingly we keep advising them. I think this is the major questions or the issues which come up in the market, but there is an answer to that. We have to always look at the very basic thing, which is the power supply any machine.
Ritesh, another participant wants to know a little bit more on spill-proof keyboards. Can you please elaborate?
I'm sorry.
The participant wants to know about your skill-proof keyboard line.
To be really honest, I would not be the right guy to really technically talk about the keyboard. We have a different product manager to really talk about it. But if I have the name and number or the contact of the person, I will ensure to connect that person with our respective product manager for the keyboard.
Sure, Ritesh. So the next question is, does these workstations support HDMI port for gaming?
That's a very regular question that everybody asks. I understand that the world is moving from VGA to HDMI and DP ports, but the HDMI ports are very oftenly only provided on mobile PCs, not on tower PCs. It's not that our PCs, may it be a tower or a mobile, would not support. It would, but it would not come as a standard port in any of the machines for towers. It would come on mobile, but it would not come on the towers. For those, you would need to have adapters. Let's say a DP to an HDMI adapter, or a VGA to an HDMI adapter, or a DVI to an HDMI adapter. So that's the only solution to have HDMI, but no standard ports on tower for HDMI. But yes, we do on mobile.
Ritesh, the next question is, what are the OEM certified by you for professional GPU? Is there any tie-up with NVIDIA or AMD for discrete discussion?
Oh yes, absolutely. So in this industry, we have 108 ISVs, out of which Lenovo is certified by 42 ISVs. Competition are a little higher in number, but we are still working with other ISVs to have our workstation certified. So our graphics card from NVIDIA and AMD works together. And of course, as we sell, products from NVIDIA and AMD, we have a really open forum to bring them on the table and discuss if there is anything technical to be taken care of from NVIDIA or AMD. The doors are pretty much open to have an open discussion.
The next question, Ritesh, is what will be your vertical focus going forward? Are you going to focus on any specific vertical?
I think media and entertainment. A lot of people watching movies. Padmavat is getting released today, and all the animations and graphics put there are done on some of the other workstations. So we will be targeting media and entertainment segment very closely.
Okay, sure. So one of our participants wants to know what is the pricing of your product? How are they priced, Ritesh?
I think we are priced very competitive. It is what I would say is, no offense, this is not a commodity like a laptop or a desktop, because it has a lot of options to get customized and have a solution selling to it. Uh, I would not have any direct answer to that, give you a figure of what pricing does it start with, but we have an entry level, we have a mid level, and we have a high end level as well. So if you really want to catch the lines of what I talk, the entry level is equivalent to what a normal regular desktop goes at. So we have all kind of options available on our Workstation platform.
Thank you, Ritesh, for those very comprehensive answers. And uh, okay, so another question is that what is the mid level price? What is the median of the price, Ritesh? If you can answer.
again again the price, see, I would not, because I have a lot of participants on this call, I would not like to set any standard or example for a pricing. But even if see, if you talk about a a pure workstation which go in a manufacturing or a designing or a media and entertainment or finance or healthcare industry, if you do a really solution selling product, it is nothing less than a lakh per PC. Uh, when I say that, that's like the benchmark when you do a solution selling. Uh, but if you have to really again compare from a regular desktop to a workstation, we do have our entry levels which will come below that price point.
Thank you, Ritesh. Uh, Participants, this is in the interest of time, we will have to bring the webinar to a close. Thank you so much for participating in it. It was a very engaging and insightful talk, and hope all of you have enjoyed the session. The recording of this webinar will be made available on etcio.com. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Goodbye, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.